Hey everybody, it's Charles, HypeCentral.org. Thanks for stopping by. You saw that title, Cornucopia Plus, P.S. or Postscript. I will do my best to convey as I saw it, as I felt it, in words. And it begins like this: power doesn't have to threaten with long, strong words laced in expletives. When personal authority is truly understood and valued aright. Next, to note, let's observe a child facing reprimand. Johnny, I'm going to get that backside. Now, Johnny is fully aware of the harm potentially inflicted if continues on the path that warranted this due caution. But it is hoped eventually words won't be required. Only body language, for example, of or from the senior who wields the proper authority. And what I saw as I was writing those words is a parent reprimanding their child or overseer or guardian without words, especially if they're a guest somewhere. They'd give them that long stare, maybe with their head tilted in their direction, or they raise up a finger and go side to side, or depending on how serious the matter was, actually point at that child. And for me, in my mind, I'm thinking, "Nuff said," and no words were spoken. But let me continue. Now, in regards to expletives, I saw this short narrative, and I just wrote some words down. Take them, leave them. But it goes like this: you seem to always have the perfect exhort or vernacular, urban in nature, for any occasion. But let's say, if you can, take a moment, step back, step away. If you must say what you need to say it, but say it to yourself. Or breathe. In the olden days, they would say count to 10. But whatever potential consequences are imposed, at that time, they would be only yours to bear. No collateral harm to others. And then and only then should you return to what is next to transpire. Moving forward. Next, I see the wizard. More specifically, the Wizard of Oz. We're off to see the wizard. To note, the tenor of the voice of that wizard, or the baritone of the voice of that wizard, once assumed natural, but in reality became the creature or entity of this land called Oz's own making and fancy. I'm going to say probably due to fear. But when the mask and the cover was pulled, they saw what couldn't be seen. The glass, once darkened, but now they're able to see face to face. That creature of fancy, or that entity of fancy called the wizard. They now behold the wizard's stature. They now observe the reason for the projections in order to maintain the power and control hungry roots. Next, I see the word reflection. I wrote reflections of. The universe will bequeath to itself through us tools and supplies, I wrote. And then I wrote a pose, P-O-S-E, a pose. To note, respond now, if you will, to yourself intuitively. Of the two, tools or supplies, which best describes you and why? I'm going to take a moment. For targeted actions and focus are what elevates the anticipation to our abundance. And with reflection to the fact, cornucopia actually exists within each of us. So I wrote, let's all partake joyfully. Next, I see the word challenge. Then I thought further, challenger. And it goes like this. The next word I'm going to repeat twice because that's the way I saw it and that's the way I heard it. Today being Tuesday that I am recording this, I saw the number of this word. Maybe it's something in there for you, but let's go. 4-4. The antagonist representing the outside of self, quote unquote. The word self, quote unquote. That now presents as what the prophet once said, the prophet Job. He said, the enemy I fear most. And then I wrote, of our own making and fancy, which for some is Diablos in nature. Dark, forlorn, maybe foreboding, dark aura, black cape, shrouded, the fox indeed. And then I hear these words. I remember, I don't know what that series was right now that Eddie Murphy was in, but this will probably ring a bell for someone. But the police officer was saying, is this the man? So those are the words I wrote down next because that's what I was hearing. I hear, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, its kingdoms to quake, the world to become desert-like, and to destroy its cities, and to retain its captives. Oh God. And then I wrote, remember Oz, that wizard. Oh, the thoughts, I wrote, we dare to entertain. Ashe? That brings me to the postscript. And it goes like this. If you made it to this point, you are gifted with my postscript. And it begins like this. Last night, the night before, 24 hours at my door. I got up. All right, let me quit. I jest. But when I came to the door, this is what I saw. I saw a ceiling fan no longer mounted. The entire unit was held up only with the wires that gave it its power. This fan, instead of its 4 blades, now only revealed 3 blades, precariously arrayed because of the current position, which was extremely off kilter, hanging there. There were no bulbs, no cover for the bulbs, and the mounting that it once hung from is no longer viable to reattach the fan. So I now know there is a spot where I can reattach this hanging fan. So I went to get my tools, the tools I wrote, quote unquote. There was an assortment of special fitments like a ratchet set, but not a ratchet set, with alternating attachments, metrically designed, 3-finger in design. And as I wrote those words, 3-finger in design, I'm picturing a little, I don't want to say insect, bug, or creature using its hands to balance itself on a tree branch. And whatever this creature's was, I'm seeing the creature poking its tongue out to get an insect. So the type of hands that that creature had on that tree, this is what I was seeing that the tool had. I move on. 3-finger design, these fingers were laced with ridges designed to open and clasp onto the item, but in this case, like a screw or bolt to turn and or remove. Forgetting about that fan momentarily, I get excited about each piece that I would be using to fix the fan. I twirled each one in my hand like a child with new toys on Christmas Day. Ready to begin, someone suddenly appears to say, "The bathtub is leaking." And I woke up. Yes, it was a dream. And while musing on this dream, it dawned on me, everybody listening to this, I'm talking about myself right now, I am no longer a supply. I'm going to say that again. I am no longer a supply. And those that know, you know. But a unique tool I wrote for special situations and assignments. At that point, curious to note the time, I looked over and the time read 1:14 a.m. And that was the 18th of February, 2024. I'm closing with this. This is what I heard next. One plants. I'm going to pause there for a moment and say this. All of us out here in the world have a place, have a spot, have a position, have an offering to the universe. One plants, another waters. Increase arrives from the Most High. Tool or supply. Reflection begins now. The harvest is upon us. Ashe. This is Charles at HypeCentral.org. Thanks for stopping by. And as always, be blessed.